Hey everyone, welcome back into the video. So, today we're going to be talking about Sonic the 6, like a retrospective on that game. Now that I kind of, fully played through the game, I'm currently, here's a little announcement, I recorded the whole walkthrough of the game and it'll be uploading it to YouTube. When I will? Probably while I'm on vacation in mid-April. Because, I'll still have, my headset or whatever, but I probably, most likely won't be doing commentary stuff or whatever, unless something, major news happens. Like, something that is huge, Because my main focus while there is just visiting family there, where I'm going. But anyway, that's a whole different topic, though. Let's get the actual thing in hand. So, yeah, Sonic 06. Definitely an ambitious game that ultimately got screwed over by Sega Management, and a classic example of forcing the development team to rush a game out when it clearly was not ready and it needed more time in the oven. But yeah, so the development cycle paints a pretty troubled picture, and it's a no wonder why the game was critically panned. Because the team just needed more time. It's a proven fact. Anyway. Beginning development after Sonic the Hedgehog, which came out a year earlier, in 2005, Sonic the Hedgehog was meant to be a rebirth of the franchise, taking elements that the game had praised in the preceding Adventure series. I know people won't call it Sonic Adventure 3, but let's be honest here. This is the closest we've gotten to a Sonic Adventure 3. I don't care what anybody says. You can disagree with me all day, but you cannot deny there are so many similarities between 06 and Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. There are so many similarities to it. So many. Anyway, it brings Sonic back to its roots. Nothing pointed more on the idea of using the game to celebrate what made Sonic the most famous hedgehog in the world than naming the game after the first in the entire series. However, instead of keeping things simple, the staff behind the creation of the game came up with numerous ideas they wanted to flesh out, wanting the game to be the ultimate Sonic experience. Yeah, you kind of see that. It's pretty evident in the ambition that they had for the project. They truly wanted this to be the ultimate 3D Sonic game that would be the rebirth of the entire franchise. Anyway, continuing. The existence of what would become Sonic 15th Anniversary Celebration became known to the masses during the E3 Expo in 2005, where a video was shown behind closed doors of what the team had hoped to accomplish with the game. Although an unplayable demonstration, the video was leaked to the internet, thank you IGN, because that got me really hyped for the game when I first saw it back in the day. So, yeah, I had a lot of hype for it. I did play it, not at launch, but years late, like a couple years later and whatnot, and speculation began to run wild. Some of those questions were answered later that year at the Tokyo Game Show, where a playable demo of the game was showcased. Although it's not a full level, I think elements from that eventually became Kingdom Castle or Kingdom Valley. I think that's, I don't know the exact name, but I know it's one of the two. Anyway, the demo was meant to display the new tech behind the game, including the day and night cycle, visual effects, and the use of the Havok engine for the physics. I have various screenshots I'll show you later, where that was actually, it was noted later, as we'll read, that there was a whole bunch of features were actually cut from the final game, including that day and night cycle, as we'll go over later. Anyway, continuing. It wasn't long after the outing, though, however, when the original executive producer of the game and one of the founding fathers for the series, Yuji Naka, announced his resignation from Sega and going off to eventually create his own development studio, Pro. Yeah, he's certainly an interesting character, regarding what's happened to him recently. Now he's been arrested for trader secrets with Square Enix over that garbage game they came out with a couple years ago. I forgot what the name of it was. Oh yeah, Battle on One World or some dumb shit that was. Anyway. Without this central figurehead, pressure was put upon the director of the game, Shun Nakamura, to release what Sega would hope to be a stellar entry in the entire Sonic franchise and to help relaunch the brand for the next generation of consoles. So obviously, this was meant to be the next generation Sonic experience for the 7th generation of consoles, with the 360 and the PlayStation 3. There was going to be a Wii version, but we'll kind of get into that later. Fate would not be on the side of Nakamura and the rest of the team, for a development sprawling game would prove to be too short. Completely agree there. It's pretty obvious. Anyway, pressured into having the game ready for Christmas 2006 regardless of the consequence of that. Yeah, we were still in that era where big AAA games had to come out during the holidays to maximize sales. And how did that work out for you, Sega? How'd that work out for you? not too well when it comes to reception, huh? Anyway, the game was shipped to less than stellar reception from critics. Many of the features that had been promised were absent, like I mentioned before, the day and night cycle. Control issues and prominent bugs litter the product. Most of the huge bugs I've seen, people talk about, I haven't really seen any when playing Xenia. I don't remember them, a lot of them in the original version, maybe because I'm just oblivious to it and I don't pay attention much. I guess that's a just thing with me. Oh well, but anyway. For many, it became the worst Sonic game ever released, and for a few, it was considered a contender, being the worst game of all time, promising too much and not delivering. That's a bit of a stretch to me anyway. I wouldn't call it the worst game ever made. I'd say there's definitely worse. There's definitely way worse games out there. There definitely has, especially ever since. Like I said, I think Forces is worse. But that's just me though. Anyway, continuing. Originally, it was also intended to be a port of Sonic 06 to the Wii. It was decided to be much too time spent on the game, especially if they wanted it ready for the system release. Instead, the resources were devoted to creating an original product for the console, Sonic and the Secret Rings, as you can see here. Yeah, I thought Secret Rings was okay. I like 06 better, but I still thought Secret Rings was a good game overall. Anyway, continuing. The director of Secret Rings, Yoshio Ogawa, I apologize if I said your name wrong, who was also meant to be the director of the entire 2006 project. Jeez. He certainly had a lot on his plate. Anyway, he was extremely sympathetic to the final product, saying the reason why we probably ended up with what we are today, there was a lot of reasons. One is that we did want to launch the title around Christmas, and we had the PS3 launch coming up. We also had developed for Microsoft 360 at the same time, and the team had an awful lot of pressure on them by management. Anyway, it was very hard for the team to try to see how we were going to come out with both versions with just one team. It was a big challenge. A Windows port was also planned. It was advertised in the manual for the Windows port of Sonic Riders, but was never released for unknown reasons. Probably because of how the game launched on the console version, so I guess Sega decided to just cancel the PC version of Sonic 06 for Windows. But it's kind of funny how 06 in a way is on PC now through emulation with Xenia, and also fan-made products that I would say are better than the actual version of Sonic 06 that we have. Like PL6, for example. You saw, for those who are long-term subscribers of mine, you all know that I praised that PC port. So if you have a PC that's capable of it, go play that game. Yeah, go try it out. I highly recommend it, because it definitely makes the overall experience of Sonic 06 that much better, quite personally. It's certainly done a lot of quality improvements, and I really can't wait for the full version of P-06 to come out. Anyway, to wrap this up, even though the game itself was met with much criticism, the soundtrack to the game was much better received. Featured tracks including the brief return of Dreams Come True to the Sonic scene, teamed up with R&B artist Akon. The group revisited Sweet, 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 the melody of which had been used previously in the ending moments of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Brought into the development of the game's stories, as well as selected concept arts that were leaked to the internet before the game was released, in the form of Sonic Next _all script. This file, one of them, the second from the preset from the PlayStation 3 and the unreleased Wii version, an internal document saved in XLL format. It was originally obtained by an anonymous UK tester who gave it to the Sonic fan site Sonic Holt. Other interesting tidbits, including Elise's original name, being named Princess Aliga, based on the Russian singer, are found within. It can be obtained here. There's a link down there in the description below. Now that kind of the whole development. See, the kind of reason why I read that excerpt out to you is to kind of point a picture of how the game truly, absolutely, it was screwed. It absolutely was. It truly was screwed over. It really freaking was. Anyway, now that's kind of out of the way, let's actually go over some of the more interesting things, such as E3 2005 demo that we have heard about. Like this, for example, where this, I'd say, was probably one of the most infamous images from that demo that was actually released on the internet. As you can see here, yeah, here's a perfect example of that. Where it's definitely the most infamous one, I would say. So yeah, very, very infamous. Now, to kind of wrap this up before we go on to the final version of this video, I now would like to show you the canceled day and night cycle, which, as you can see here by this first image, where this is Kingdom Valley, where it's just shows, these two images were released in 2006, so after that E3 2005 demo, where it showed that, yeah, the game was going to have a day and night cycle. That ultimately, unfortunately, got cut because of various things, the chaotic development of the game. Now, and we got this final one, which I believe is the same area, or a different area in Kingdom Valley, which, yeah, there was an actual sunset, which was really dope, because I'd say it gave off like a really cool vibe. It really did. So now to kind of wrap this video up and bring it home. Now Sonic 06, is the game good? Yes. Does it have major flaws? Abso-freaking-lutely. Some level design is very frustrating, like the Mach speed in certain Sonic levels in his campaign. There's definitely issues with the game, like there definitely is, but that can't now take away someone's enjoyment of the game, in my humble opinion. You disagree with me on that? I'm okay with that, quite honestly, because everyone has a different opinion. That's just how we as human beings are. And as long as you respect other people's opinions, that we can all have a good conversation. But replaying this game again after so long, it takes me back. It really takes me back. Just how hyped I was for Sonic 06 back in the day, because it looked really freaking good, like really ambitious, and it is. It really was ambitious for what Sega was trying to do at the time. Because again, we're talking about, the game was come out for the 7th generation of consoles, and I remember back in 2010 maybe, that Sega delisted the game. And for those who still kind of have their old Xbox 360 still around, that still have access to the internet, you can actually buy the game again on the Microsoft Store for some reason. It was very odd that they had it delisted for so long, and then out of nowhere, like a year or two ago, they relisted it again after so long. It didn't make any sense, especially considering the fact the game isn't backwards compatible. So that kind of makes me wonder why they relisted it in the first place. It was a definitely odd choice. And regarding that, it's kind of, I've been noticing that the game has been getting more love from Sega recently. I've kind of noticed that because I think they were talking about making everything from Sonic canon. Even so, somebody brought up Sonic 06. They even said that, I believe it's the director of Sonic Frontiers, like Mario Kishimo. I probably said his name wrong, but anyway, he actually said that they actually take 06 into consideration, which is very interesting, because for those who actually played through the whole game, for those who remember, ultimately the events of the game got erased basically. But even though that kind of happened, Sonic and Elise still remember the events of that game. So it was kind of very intriguing that even though the events of the game released, it's still quote unquote canon. So kind of very interesting to see how they would address that in the future. Maybe, I'm sure they'll probably address it somehow. Who the heck knows? But it's still kind of cool that they still, 06 has looked more favorably now after all this time. It's about dang time, because personally the game was always good in my opinion. But anyways, at the end of the day, Sonic 06 is a classic example of a game being screwed over by management of a publisher / studio, because Sonic Team clearly needed more time to further flesh out their ideas that they had for the game. And it's pretty obvious saying, and it kind of makes you think of like a what if scenario, that if 06 would have been such a huge mega hit, who knows honestly what would have really happened, when you really think about it. Who knows honestly what happened back then. We wouldn't be, it wouldn't be in this whole situation that it was until like a few highlights with 3D Sonic, like Sonic Generations. I know they review bomb Sonic Unleashed 2, but I don't give a fuck. That game was the best 3D Sonic game in my opinion until Sonic Frontiers came around. I don't give a fuck what people say. So, but at the end of the day, yeah, 06 is a classic example of a development team that got screwed over by upper management, just so they can rush it out to meet holiday sales. And that still happens, from time to time nowadays, no matter what, when a game gets released, it seems to be half-baked or incomplete. And it's such BS. You don't see this in any other entertainment industry, but you do in the game industry for some freaking reason. And it blows my freaking mind. Like, wow, man. Some shit needs to really change, because the consistent release of incomplete games is getting out of freaking control. It's been for a long time, especially as of recently. Ever since, I would say, the 9th generation consoles release, but that's a whole different topic though, man. But yeah, Sonic 06, it was definitely very ambitious that it clearly needed more time. And seemingly that worked out in Frontier's favor, as even though the Sonic team had to fight tooth and nail to get a internal delay, it turned out for the game to be really successful, and that's because of the fan support for that game. It's getting free DLC with the first update coming out this week. Cannot wait for that. So yeah, for those who kind of played 06, I'm curious to see what your guys' thoughts on it, because for me, I think it always was a good game. It genuinely was, and I'm proud to say that. So if you disagree with me, that's okay. We can have, an actual civil conversation, because it's an interesting title in gaming history, whether for good or for good and the bad. Yeah, a good game, but it has major flaws. Obviously, that it really was good in the end, in my opinion. But anyway, that's all I kind of want to say on this topic. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, hit the like button and consider hitting that sub button, especially if you made it to the end of this video. I appreciate everyone's support. Now I'll see you on the next one. Until then, have a good one.